Gracias a los Urlis, a mis hermanos mexicanos y hondureños. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are happy to share that today we have interpretation services for both American Sign Language and Spanish. First, I would like to welcome and thank Cecilia and Marissa from Pro Bono ASL for providing ASL interpretation today. We have pinned the ASL team to the top screen so that they will be visible at all times. If you have any issues seeing their videos, please let us know in chat so we can support you. Para todos los presentes de habla hispana, al siguiente escucharemos instrucciones en inglés. Al seguir esas instrucciones también se proveerán en español. Nuestros intérpretes hoy son Carla y Simón de Just Communities. Carla y Simón.
Hello, this is a bilingual message that will be repeated in English. Hola, este es un mensaje bilingüe que será repetido en inglés. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Carla Martens y estoy aquí con mi compañera Simone Rivadeneira. Somos parte de la Red de Justicia Lingüística de Comunidades Justas. Estamos aquí para proveer interpretación simultánea entre inglés y español para el evento de hoy. Un ambiente bilingüe virtual exitoso depende de todos y todas, no solo de los intérpretes. Pueden ayudar teniendo en cuenta algunos puntos. Por favor, hablen claramente para asegurar que los podamos escuchar. Hablen a un ritmo moderado y tengan cuidado de no hablar demasiado rápido. En un momento, el anfitrión activará la función de interpretación. En la parte inferior derecha de su pantalla verán un icono de globo. Denle clic ahí y seleccionen el idioma en el que desean escuchar el evento. De esta manera les permitirá escuchar a los oradores cuando hablen en ambos idiomas, pero en el idioma de su preferencia. Si nos acompañan a través de un iPad o teléfono, busquen el menú de 3 puntos en la parte superior derecha de su pantalla, denle clic ahí y seleccionen interpretación de idiomas y elijan su idioma de preferencia. Si están teniendo cualquier problema con la función de interpretación, por favor, manden un mensaje a través de la ventana del chat al anfitrión para poderlo resolver. Muchas gracias.
Hello, my name is Simone Rivadeneira, and I'm here with Carla Martins. We are representing the Just Communities Language Justice Network. We will be providing interpretation between English and Spanish for today's event. A successful virtual bilingual environment depends on all of us, not just the interpreters. You can help by keeping a few things in mind. Speak clearly to ensure we can hear you. Speak at a moderate pace. Only one person should speak at a time, and in a moment, the host will turn on the interpretation feature, and at the bottom right corner of your screen, you will be able to select the language you want to hear the event in, English or Spanish. This will allow you to hear when speakers of both languages talk, but in your language of preference. If you are on a phone or tablet, you'll need to find the 3-dot menu and select language interpretation. If you are having any trouble with the interpretation feature, send a message to the host through the chat so the issue can be resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla and Simone, for the reminder. Access also means ensuring that all can receive services in their language. We at Community Nature Connections are passionate about language justice and are all so grateful for our interpreters from Pro Bono ASL and Just Communities for their time and efforts today in making this event accessible to all. Live transcript is available by selecting the live transcript button, also on the bottom panel where you find the chat box. Zoom provides caption as people speak, so it's not always correct, but it's a feature you can use if necessary. If at any point tonight you are having difficulty viewing or hearing the videos we are using, you can visit our fundraiser page on our website to view those videos on your own, on your own time too. A link is being placed in the chat now. Okay, thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Miguel Angel Luna. I am the chair of the board of directors for Community Nature Connections, and I'll be one of your hosts tonight. You'll hear more about Community Nature Connections today, so I'll keep this brief. I do want to thank my fellow board members, Bruce Saito and Liz Cheadle, for all their work. I'd also like to acknowledge our past board members, Barbara Romero and Dr. Akin Abuye. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our previous executive director, our founding executive director, Amy Lethbridge, good friend. Thank you so much, Amy. And of course, all our donors who make it possible for our programs to run. And we are indebted to our amazing, amazing host committee, Honorable Councilmember Monica Rodriguez, Rory Sky, Ann Rushton, Sarah Rutherford Nichols. Thank you so much for your support. Now we will hear a brief message from one of our host committee members, a dear friend and advocate of our work, the Honorable Councilmember Monica Rodriguez.
Hi, I'm Los Angeles City Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez. And as a member of the host committee, I have the distinct privilege of welcoming you all this evening to the first ever virtual fundraiser for Community Nature Connection. Equity in Bloom is our theme this evening, and celebrating the remarkable work of individuals that have done outstanding jobs to help close the divide and making sure that all of our communities, regardless of what zip code you live in, have access to the necessary open spaces that we all deserve. Maria Elena Duraso, Belinda Faustinos, Asufenra Sam are individuals that have done an outstanding job in their own right, trailblazing and making sure that our communities have that equitable access to green space that we are all starved for. And so I want to thank you all for supporting this incredible event and remind us all that our work continues each and every day. And let's continue to support and uplift communities throughout our city and throughout our nation. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your work, and enjoy the show.
Thank you, Council Member. We appreciate your support. And again, our host committee, we're indebted to you. We'd also like to acknowledge the land on which Community Nature Connection operates as the ancestral lands and home of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples, original stewards and custodians of this territory. We recognize their continuing connection to land, waters, and culture, and we pay our respect to their elders past, present, and emerging. Community Nature Connection strives to create partnerships and collaborate with local tribes to expand equitable outdoor programming to all. I'd also like to ask for a moment of silence and reflection for the victims and family of the recent murder of our Asian American and Pacific Islanders brothers and sisters. We see you and mourn along with the family and friends of those murdered on March 16th. Our staff and board members stand in solidarity with all of you. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker of the evening, Dr. Rebecca Hernandez. We are honored to have you. Dr. Rebecca Hernandez is the director of the American Indian Resource Center, where her work is focused on the retention of Native students and developing programs and workshops that promote a better understanding of American Indian cultures and lifeways at UCSC. Dr. Hernandez, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, everyone, and I'm honored to be here speaking with you tonight. I am speaking from Santa Cruz, California, the original homelands of the Amamutsin tribal band. I myself am Mescalero and Warm Springs Apache and Mexican American. I grew up down in Los Angeles, so I'm very familiar with the people of that land, and it warms my heart to hear their name, the Tongva. So I grew up down in LA, more specifically in the city of Alhambra. And so my neighborhood was very close to downtown Los Angeles, and access to nature was limited. Additionally, my family didn't really spend time outside. Coming from a large family, most of the time, the leisure time that we had was spent with relatives or friends. And so I also grew up with some health issues, especially in relationship to being asthmatic and having a lot of allergies. So as a kid, I definitely felt a level of worry and stress when I was outside. You know, was it going to trigger my asthma if I was playing, if I was outside? So I grew to have a kind of discomfort with being outside, and that carried into my adult life. I really enjoyed spending time in places like parks that were, you know, things were well controlled, and there were no worries about something happening to me that I couldn't manage. Right, I was always near something where I could get help. But what I came to, what ended up happening was about 3 years ago, my doctor said to me, you know, you need to start walking or moving or doing something for your health. And I was very reluctant, and I thought to myself, well, how am I going to do this? And I eventually ended up making a deal with her, my doctor, that I would walk for 15 minutes, and then I would turn around and come home. And I literally set the timer on my phone, and I got in a couple of good songs that I liked listening to on my headphones, and I walked around my neighborhood. And 15 minutes turned into 30 minutes, turned into an hour, because I started to notice things around me. I wasn't in my car, right? And I noticed flowers and trees and people and walking their pets, and I started talking to them. And over the course of a year, I noticed the changes in seasons. I was much more aware, oh, I can't walk today because it's raining, or it's so hot today, I'm gonna have to wait until later on tonight. And the simple act of being outside in a neighborhood, right? I wasn't out anywhere in particular, just walking on sidewalk. Something happened where my awareness of birds, of butterflies, of insects, of squirrels, and things that I would just see around really piqued my interest, right? So I decided that I would take the advice of a friend and participate in the California Naturalist program. And there is a program on our campus at UC Santa Cruz. So I enrolled in that program, and I was one of 2 people of color in the program, that cohort. I was the only person that had no experience, prior experience, hiking or going into nature in the ways that all of these people did. So I was really nervous about it. Fortunately, just about a month prior to enrolling in the class, a friend said, let's go on a hike. And the only reason that I agreed to do it is because we called it a trail walk. And I went on this walk, and I was on this trail. It was actually here in Northern California, a beautiful area. And the whole time I kept thinking, while we were driving to this trail, I kept thinking, what if I get bit by a snake? Or what if a tick jumps on me? Or what if there's a bear? Or what, you know, I had all of this stuff going on in my imagination. And we got there, and my friend could see I was very nervous and said, if you don't like it, we'll turn around and come back. So I started the walk, and it was the first time in my entire life that I was on a trail where I was walking and enjoying myself. And again, I was so profoundly moved by what I witnessed that I kept thinking to myself, how did I not know that all of this was going on, right? How did I miss this? How come I wasn't brought to these kinds of places earlier in my life? So again, I enrolled in the California Naturalist program, and it was a very lonely place for me as a person of color, as someone who was very inexperienced in being outdoors. But I started and completed the program, and it was a life-changing experience for me. I have been so incredibly blessed by the fact that by being on these field trips and heading outside with people, even at times when I didn't feel comfortable, and even at times when I was nervous and scared, I was introduced to what it means to be part of something. And by that, I mean a citizen of the planet, right? By that, I mean being being out in the world and actually appreciating that we are, as humans, just one part of the picture, one part of a system that renews itself over and over again, despite how poorly we treat it. And I have been my entire life has changed as a consequence, and now I'm a huge advocate of spending time outside. And I am so appreciative of the opportunity to speak with you tonight and to say to you that by supporting projects and programs like this, you are changing lives. I'm telling you as an adult, I wish I had known as much about nature when I was young as I do now. Nature is a profound messenger, and we are blessed by it when we understand and honor it. And so I want to thank you again for the opportunity, for being invited tonight to share these thoughts with you, and to offer up firsthand your continued efforts in teaching others how to engage with nature and to become better citizens of the world as a consequence. So with that, I will say good night, enjoy the rest of the program. And again, my thanks to all of you for the work that you're doing every day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hernandez. And as you were talking, I was just, thank you for sharing your experience in nature, that life-changing moment in nature. I'd like all of you who are listening and who are viewing us to take a moment to remember that life-changing experience that you had in nature. And as you do, know that we are all connected through those memories. And that, as you said, Dr. Hernandez, we are all citizens of this planet, no borders. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Now, I'd like to call on stage our amazing executive director, Marissa Yanus. She'll tell you more about herself, but I just want to acknowledge her leadership of this organization, especially during these times where our programs continue to move forward and we continue to serve the much needed youth to get outdoors, and not just the youth, but also their families. Marissa?
Thank you, Miguel. So I just wanted to start off with a quote today from an anonymous author. And the quote is, "Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual." Thank you so much for showing up today to build community with us and each other, and listening to amazing keynote speakers like Dr. Rebecca Hernandez. It really does mean the world to us for you to show up today. So thank you so much. Many people who are not from the LA area think LA is a place with tall buildings and easy coastal access. So people who love LA and call LA home know that this is not always the case, right? We're surrounded by mountain ranges and coastlines, but many of these outdoor spaces are inaccessible and hard to get to. There's many barriers, which include lack of direct and affordable public transportation to our mountains and coasts, the lack of green spaces in our working class neighborhoods compared to affluent areas, the lack of career pathways to the outdoors for communities that are low income, disabled, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, linguistic barriers in park signage, in programming, and in materials, a history of redlining that has separated our communities from leisure at parks, an act of discrimination long ago that still impacts and shapes our realities today, environmental injustices that pollute and harm our bodies and those of our families and friends, and a history of Indigenous displacement and racial segregation from the lands we know today as public lands. So the lack of affordable coastal accommodations along the coast for working families to enjoy a healing space. So these are just some of the barriers that exist for our communities and the reasons why each one of us are here today, ready to continue dismantling these barriers. So if you grew up getting to these places regularly as a child, you know the magic of being surrounded by a natural world that is larger than you and that is part of you. However, to imagine a world where people do not have access to the beach and to our mountains is to understand our present reality. So community nature connection is seeking to create a new reality, one where communities impacted by racial, socioeconomic, and disability injustices have access to the outdoors. We understand access to the outdoors is a critical human right, and we know that we have a lot of work ahead of us to achieve our vision and our mission. So many of you may not be familiar with our history, but Community Nature Connection was started in the late 1980s by its founder, Amy Lethbridge, who is in the audience today. Back then, it was called the Mountains Education Program. However, in 2016, the organization rebranded and renamed itself into Community Nature Connection. Interestingly, some of the programs we currently run were envisioned 30 years ago. So if we truly meditate on that, this work has been relevant for such a long time, and to say that we have work to do is an understatement. So Community Nature Connection is really proud of our programs and the impact they have on alumni of our programs. So many of our programs are what we consider partnership programs. We would not be able to put them on without our partners who mobilize members from their communities to participate in our programs. There are even times when programs change significantly due to feedback and vision from our partners. We see our programs as co-created, and as a result, they're better and improved. So one of the many programs that follows this vein of collaboration is the Naturalist Explorers program. So we know firsthand that our communities sometimes do not see ourselves represented in outdoor leadership positions. The Naturalist Explorer program seeks to address this by introducing youth to natural and cultural resources, outdoor skills, principles of interpretation, park careers in the field, community advocacy, public speaking, career development, all to create a pathway to park and outdoor related careers. So Naturalist Explorer alumni have gone on to careers with public agencies as rangers and as interpreters. So in the photo here, the Naturalist Explorers visit the traditional and ancestral lands of Western Mono-Manachi and the Foothill Yokuts, which is the land we also know as Sequoia National Park. A program that has recently come into existence is the Community Nature Connection Training Institute. So the Training Institute provides an array of training that seeks to increase community knowledge of naturalist and outdoor professional skills. It was one of our biggest successes this past year. So we were able to adapt it to a virtual setting with many free offerings, resulting in the course being available to those who may have not been able to participate otherwise. So in this photo, there's a Black Indigenous People of Color panel with professionals from LA Nature for All, the Theodore Payne Foundation, the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority, the National Park Service, and the Gang Rescue and Support Project in Colorado, and it's taking place online. One of the largest barriers that our communities in Los Angeles County face is lack of access to transportation. So our Transit to Trails program provides free bus rides from various community hubs to natural areas throughout Los Angeles County. Each trip is led by a Community Nature Connection naturalist who provides interpretive programming specific to the destination and makes the trip both memorable and meaningful. Our naturalists are skilled in many areas of programming and provide bilingual interpretation to ensure all are welcomed. So in this image, a Transit to Trail group poses on the beach as part of our coastal access initiatives. So in partnership with the National Park Service, we have another program that leads that has a year-long internship for youth. So the internship focuses on hands-on experiences in ecology and restoration, planning, volunteer coordination, program development, risk management practices. And graduates of this program have gone on to careers in restoration for public agencies like the National Park Service. So Community Nature Connection, Naturalists offer a variety of different public programs at community centers and local parks, and they transform these settings into gateways to larger public parks. Oftentimes, these sites are in our own neighborhoods, so programs offered include bilingual community campfires, nature talks, and guided hikes. We can't wait to get back to offering these touch point programs in our communities throughout the county once we're able to. And in partnership with the National Park Service, the William O. Douglas Outdoor Classroom Program offers volunteer guided field trips to Franklin Canyon Park, to the Los Angeles County Title I schools, and schools serving students with disabilities. So this is one way that Community Nature Connection is able to support environmental literacy and education for students and teachers that may not have a dedicated outdoor program. And this is also done in partnership with the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority. So now that you're a little familiar with the purpose of many of these programs, I would like to turn it over to our program alumni to share a little bit about their journey with Community Nature Connection and what that has meant to them. Because I always think it's great to listen to firsthand experiences. And so I'd like to introduce Freddie Portillo. Freddie is a first-generation college student at California State University, Long Beach, and has worked with Community Nature Connection since 2017. He grew up in San Fernando Valley and is currently working with the National Park Service as a biological technician. He hopes to see more diversity of people working in the outdoors. And we're gonna watch a few pre-recorded videos right now from our alumni.
Hi, my name is Amar Muhammad, and this is my experience with.
Hi everyone, my name is Freddie. I'm a first-generation college student in my third year of college. When I started my journey with Community Nature Connection, I was in my third year of high school. So that's 4 years now. Through those 4 years, I was able to grow a lot professionally and personally through all the programs I took. I started as a naturalist explorer, which basically just meant going out hiking and finding new places to hike. Growing up in the valley, in San Fernando Valley, in a town called Pacoima, I didn't have much of that. So it was a really great experience. From there, I wanted more. I wanted to take every internship I could with CNC. So I started as a part-timer, as an outdoor leader, leading hikes and teach people back about nature while we went on these hikes. After that, I became an urban archaeologist, in which I learned about archaeology and Native American culture. After that, I went on to do a community naturalist position where I basically had a lot of leadership skills to develop, a lot of speaking skills to develop. And after that, I became a restoration intern, which was the most recent one, in which I managed the whole restoration site with me and another person. All these were amazing experiences, and it led me to where I am now. I don't think I would have been here without those. I'm currently working with the National Park Service as a biological technician through the Santa Monica Mountains College Youth Fund. And I couldn't be more grateful to where I'm at. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Thanks, Freddie. And so Freddie's in the audience as well. So next we're going to hear from Amar Muhammad. So Amar is a 22-year-old actor and writer from Los Angeles, California, who has been through the Naturalist Explorer's internship in high school and continued to work with Community Nature Connection in a variety of ways afterwards, and has been a part of our advocacy events as well. So currently he resides in North Carolina, but if it weren't for Naturalist Explorers, he says that he wouldn't be a nature and wildlife enthusiast. We'll go ahead and.
Hi, my name is Amar Muhammad, and this is my experience with CNC. To keep it short, going through the Naturalist Explorers program made me more appreciative of our wildlife. It made me realize how much I, as a person, affect nature and our natural environment, and how much it affects me. Nature, being out in nature just recalibrates my mind. I love hiking. I like camping. I like doing these things. And I think if it wasn't for CNC giving me a vehicle or a bridge to that world, I don't think I'd be interested in it. And I think it's very important, especially as a young Black man in the inner city, that more of us get to have the opportunity to recalibrate our minds. And that's why I think CNC is so important. Thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about my experience. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Amar. And lastly, we're going to hear from Vna Moreno. Vna started with CNC in 2016 as a participant in the Naturalist Explorers program. After graduation, Vna became a lead for the Naturalist Explorer program, allowing her to apply her youth mentoring work to the next cohort, while also growing as a passionate outdoor educator. So she continues to support community nature connection with public outdoor bilingual programs as a lead naturalist.
Hi everyone, my name is Vna Moreno and I am a naturalist with Community Nature Connection. I also support their Alumni Association. And I started with CNC in 2015 when I graduated from their Naturalist Explorers program, which was a 3-month weekend program that introduced me from everything to like the basic outdoor skills to learning about camping. And then also I learned about my local wildlife, my local plants, also just the way that our environment is so interconnected, from climate change to watersheds to tide pools. So it was just this really amazing full program that allowed me to be more connected with the outdoors in a way that I never was growing up. I didn't grow up having a really outdoorsy family. You know, we didn't go camping yearly. We didn't really travel a lot too far. So it was definitely like a whole new world of mine that I had no idea existed beyond my own community. And so I thank CNC for allowing me to really grow in this field professionally, but allowing me to come back to not only lead our outdoor programs, but to also help run our Alumni Association, which is a program that allows our program graduates to come back as an alumni and stay connected with CNC in order for us to continue to provide professional development, where they can network with other professionals of color in the environment or in the outdoors. And we also provide them recreational opportunities. So it's like a little balance of both. And so I just want to say, I hope y'all are able to donate to us in order for us to continue to reach more youth in our community and those that, you know, have yet to really tap into the world of the outdoors. So thank you all so much and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, Vna. And I also just want to take the opportunity to thank each of our program alumni for sharing their experiences with us tonight. So CNC will always be here to support you and celebrate your professional journeys. So a little bit about my professional journey, because I would like to share that, is and why I'm really passionate about the work that I do. I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley and was able to see the San Gabriel Mountains from home. And I know this is a common story, so you'll feel this story if you also experience something similar. But I grew up seeing the beautiful San Gabriel Mountains from home, and I was finally able to visit the expansive mountain range in my mid-20s after researching how to visit. So once I visited my local national forest, things really changed for me. So a whole new world of possibility opened up. So when I was approached by a friend to join the Diverse Outdoor Leaders Institute offered by the nonprofit Outward Bound Adventures in Altadena, I jumped at the opportunity. So after being accepted, I learned how to experience the outdoors safely, and more importantly, how to lead others in meaningful outdoor experiences. So through a series of opportunities that followed, I was able to work for organizations like the California Science Center and the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority, and eventually land a leadership position with Community Nature Connection as the Director of Engagement, and later as the Deputy Director. So during my time with CNC, I was able to gain practical knowledge addressing barriers to the outdoors, but also witness all the work that needs to be done. So I understand the importance of dismantling barriers to the outdoors and providing opportunities for others to connect with the outdoors firsthand. I know that each of you have your own individual story of how the outdoors has created new possibilities in both your personal and your professional life. So if you're able to, please support our work by donating. And you can donate now. We'll go ahead and put that link in the chat box. So we're asking that you help us create a reality where communities impacted by racial, socioeconomic, and disability injustices have access to the outdoors. It is through this type of support that we can create new opportunities and possibilities for ourselves, our neighbors, and our future loved ones. So thank you all for your consideration and for showing up today to support our work. We are not Community Nature Connection without you. Gracias.
Thank you, Marissa. I hope all of you are as inspired as I am after hearing all those beautiful stories from our past alumni and now from Marissa. We all need inspiration in our lives, and our next awardees are an inspiration to Community Nature Connections, and that's why they were selected to be our awardees. First, I'd like to just a little description of our first awardee, Senator Maria Elena Duraso, for the Community Empowerment Award. Senator Maria Elena Duraso serves as a state senator to California's 24th district, the heart of Los Angeles. She was born the 7th child in a family of 11 children to migrant working parents. They followed crops throughout California and Oregon, experiencing the hardships that migrant laborers suffer. She pursued an education in law at the People's College of Law and earned her degree in 1985. Never forgetting her beginnings, the senator has spent most of her adult life in the labor movement, fighting and advocating for fair pay and a better life for those who work so hard to farm and pick the many crops that end up on our plates every day. She has served as vice chair of the Democratic National Committee and as national co-chair of the Barack Obama presidential campaign. She currently serves as the chair of the California Latino Legislative Caucus. We will now see a brief video of Senator Duraso's award acceptance.
Hello, this is Senator Maria Elena Duraso, representing California's 24th Senate District. Thank you so very much for our celebration of everyone's work. But the work that you are doing to build a world where all of our communities have access to public spaces outdoors is absolutely some of the most important work that you could be doing right now, especially during the pandemic, where we needed fresh air, where we needed to be outside, where we needed to keep ourselves busy and healthy. In the same way that water, sewer, and public safety are considered essential public services, parks should also be considered essential public services. Parks are critical to establishing and maintaining the quality of our life, the quality of our life in our communities, ensuring the health of families and youth, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of our neighborhoods, of our communities, and of our region. So many young people in our communities do not have the ability or option to access the outdoors. But what you are doing is changing the lives of youth. There are no communities that pride themselves on the quality of life, promote themselves as the location for businesses to locate or relocate, or maintain that they're environmental stewards of our resources without those communities having a robust, active system of parks. I know when I take my granddaughters to the parks, it's a whole different world for them. And especially our urban parks and spaces when they're, in their neighborhoods and they go into a park. It's like being in a whole different world, and they absolutely love it and enjoy themselves in a very different way. You will always have a friend in me in Sacramento. And again, I thank you for all of the work that you do for our communities. Muchas gracias y sí se puede.
Thank you, Senator. We also have the honor of having the Senator joining us briefly for some live comments. Senator, if you can turn on your camera.
Got it. Here I am. Hi, hello everyone. I still have the same background because I'm in my office in Sacramento. But thank you, Miguel, for the introduction. Thank you, Marissa, for sharing all of what you've done. Thank you, Community Nature Connection, for the poppy and lavender seeds. What a beautiful gift. I look forward to watering them and enjoying them when they turn into beautiful flowers. I want to thank all the families who are here, the staff, the volunteers, my own staff, Karen Linares Luna, the kids, Jairo and Olivia, hi, and my friend Bruce. As I mentioned in the video, the time I spent with my granddaughters are just experiences that I treasure and always remember, especially when we're outdoors. It's so much more fun than Disneyland, right? Yes. But let me share something that sort of took me in a different route from, I think, when, other experiences might be. As Miguel said, I grew up working in the fields, a migrant farmer. 8 brothers and sisters working together from very, very young age, picking all these crops, grapes, cotton, you name it. And many times we did not get paid enough to live in a home. And so we went travel from town to town. We had to sleep many times outside, on the ground, in a tent, if we were lucky, in our truck. That wasn't a very good experience of the outdoors. I had to live in the outdoors because we were too poor to be able to live indoors. So I kind of carried that with me. And later in my life, I finally got the experience of going to a national park, to Yosemite. What a completely different world was opened up to me. I didn't see it as drudgery, as, oh my goodness, I got to sleep outside on the ground. I saw it as, this was a place to enjoy myself. I started paying attention to the trees, to the flowers, and the insects, not, in a bad way, like, but rather in a beautiful way, to the birds. So we know that you learn to value what you appreciate, and to appreciate the outdoors, you have to experience it first time in a way that will have a lasting impact. All of our youth and families should have the opportunity to experience the outdoors, no matter where you live, no matter rich or poor. And that's the reason we have to take care of our green space, not just for today, for future generations. The other reason is our outdoor space is so important for our personal health. Moving, as Dr. Hernandez said, running, walking, if you're young enough, climbing trees like my granddaughters, relaxing, and the fresh air, all are good to be healthy. I want to live as long as I can, and I want to live my life as healthy as I can. And then just finally, let me add to this. Yes, it is about fun, it is about health, but it's also important that our youth get to become the professionals that work in the outdoors, the park rangers, all the other kinds of jobs and careers. That so when they go to college, they're thinking about, yes, I want to help take care of our environment, and that's going to be a career, and I'm going to get paid for it. So I could raise a family if I want to, buy a house if I want to. We shouldn't see it as disconnected from all the possibilities in the world. So that is why what you do is so important for our next generation of leaders Just so important. I applaud you for leading by example. Your staff represents the diversity of our communities, of our state, the diversity of what we want to see more. And I end with 2 asks. To all of the attendees, please continue to support this very, very important work. Take it from somebody who is now benefiting, please continue to support. And that when things really open up again, we're able to visit in person, whether here in the district, whether I'm going to be in Sacramento, there's a river right there. Please make sure you visit with me. I thank you and I appreciate you. Love everything that you do. Have a beautiful evening. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you so much. And we'll take you up on that second offer. We'll definitely come and visit you. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you. Our next awardee is a dear friend, Belinda Faustinos. She is receiving the Lifetime Steward Award. Belinda is the executive director of Nature for All, a coalition of 11 organizations that work to build a diverse base of support for ensuring that everyone in the Los Angeles area, no matter where they live, has equitable access to the wide range of benefits that nature can provide. Prior to this position, she served as the executive director of the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy for 10 years and as the deputy director of the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy for over 17 years. She retired in May, I don't believe it, of 2011 after 40 years of California as a California state employee. She is a lifetime steward as demonstrated by her countless years of service. And we are so honored to have her with us tonight and to allow us to honor you, Belinda. I really appreciate you. You're one of my mentors. And so please, if you could share with us some remarks.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Miguel. I appreciate it. You're one of my favorite people in the environmental world. So we are like-minded in that. And first of all, I just want to say thank you so much to Senator Duraso and our introductory speaker. These women, I think, embody what we all have experienced in terms of our love of nature, our appreciation for it. Some of us when we were young, some of us when we were older. And I had the good fortune early in my career with the state to work for a fantastic man who is still somebody I look up to every day, Joe Edmiston, who taught me everything I needed to know about the environment. And one of the things I really want to point out is that, I mentioned this at a event last week with the Hispanic Access Foundation that was talking about these similar issues of access to the outdoors and how important it was to Latinos. And it just crystallized in my head that one of the major things that I learned while at the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy is the meaning of public land. And public land is for everybody. And I learned that 40 years ago. So, I think the mentorship at the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, the values that conservancy holds, was something that it wasn't in style back then to talk about equity. It wasn't in style back then to talk about, access to nature. It was just practiced. It was, hey, we bought a park, we use public funds, we need to figure out a way to get young people here so that this, is available to everyone that should be enjoying it. And that was my basic training, working with people like Amy, Liz Cheadle, and Rushton, Rory Skay, all the folks over at the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, the value that they placed on the need to be able to be of service to everyone in our community was just embedded in their DNA. And thank God it got embedded in me. and I was able to move that learning forward to the work that I've been doing since then. So I extend my deepest appreciation to all that experience that I had when I was basically learning the ropes in the environmental world. And that has taught me well in terms of, how to interact with our elected officials, how to interact with the community, how to get things done, basically, and make sure that we are providing broad services to everyone. and my good friend, Amy Lethbridge, I learned all I needed to know about environmental education and cultural interpretation from her. It's something that I still carry with me throughout everything I do, both at the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy and now at Nature for All. So for me, it's an honor that I was able to be here today, that you chose to recognize me. It is something that there have been many disciples, frankly, that have gone forth from the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, and every one of them should be up here getting an award, because we were all trained really well in terms of our need to give back and the need to really recognize that it's critically important that we all appreciate these public lands for what they are, and that we bring up youth, get them trained, and open up jobs and opportunities that aren't for everyone. You know, I have to say, this is not something about, 100%, we're going to end up having everyone in environmental careers. But those that do have an affinity for it and enjoy the outdoors, want to pursue these careers, legislation like, excuse me, the one that Senator Duraso recently reintroduced to establish a career pathways program are critically important, because I just happened to stumble onto my career in the environment. But now we have such an opportunity to be able to be more direct about it. So I appreciate this recognition. I have it right here, and really, excuse me, I hope that we will be able to continue working together for years to come. I am going to start my third career, and I expect to see you all out there from one time or another. So thank you very much, Miguel. Thank you, Marissa, and all the staff at Community Nature Connection. You guys are doing an awesome job, and I appreciate it. And believe me, I'm trying to get into the donation button here so that I can give, and I want all of you to also contribute to this wonderful organization that just does tremendous work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Belinda. Big hug your way, and I'll see you.
Yeah. Abrazos, abrazos.
Abrazos for you. Thank you, Belinda. Now, I'd like to invite our Youth Leadership Programs Manager, Julio Soria, to introduce our next awardee. Julio?
Hey, gracias, Miguel. So as the Youth Leadership Programs Manager, I have the pleasure of working with many community partners. And today it is my privilege to introduce a great community leader and friend, Safanarat Sam. Safanarat is a queer, non-binary Cambodian American whose parents survived the Khmer Rouge. Being a child of refugees has shaped their involvement in the Southeast Asian community. Currently, they are a youth trainer at the Southeast Asian Community Alliance, or SECA for short. At SECA, they focus on fostering youth power through organizing and advocacy amongst low-income Southeast Asians and community allies. They are responsible for developing and facilitating popular education workshops for the Youth Leadership Project. We partner on the Naturalist Explorer program. I have many fond memories of camping with Sam and their youth and our meetings in their community garden. Due to the pandemic, they transitioned to leading and organizing mutual aid efforts to provide hot meals, care packages, cash assistance, and fresh produce to vulnerable families of Chinatown and surrounding neighborhoods. Working on the front lines, putting their physical and mental health on the line to reach those in need, I can think of no other person more deserving of this award. So it is my honor to present Safanarat Sam with the Leading Through Action Award. And we have a little video to play.
Hi everyone, I am so honored to be accepting the Leading Through Action Award today. And I was not expecting this, so wasn't sure what to share in this message. But what I can share is that here at SECA, we just truly appreciate Community Nature Connection for existing and for partnering with us and continuing to offer and expose our youth to nature in a way that they've never experienced before, including the Naturalist Explorer program, which is amazing and has exposed our youth to a whole new career path that they've never even considered before, as well as the camping trips that has allowed our youth to experience camping and being able to be in nature and just like fully immerse themselves in nature and disconnect from, like technology and be able to be in the moment and especially now during this pandemic, I feel like we're definitely really craving that right now and really miss it. So yeah, we just really want to thank CNC for existing, and thank you so much for presenting me and honoring me with this award. Thank you.
And now I'd like to invite Safanat to go ahead and unmute yourself and share a few words.
Hi, everybody. Wow, I'm just so honored to be here. And thank you, everyone who has shared and spoken. I feel like for me, working directly with low income POC students of color who don't have access to nature, don't even have access to a car, and oftentimes, you know, like taking the train or the bus somewhere isn't an option. We just really appreciate like all that you all do and provide for us and our youth. And Julio, working directly with you has been, you know, like something that we've never experienced before. Like before working with CNC, we didn't have access to camping trips. We didn't have access to trails and going out into nature and bringing our families and our community and our students and people who really need it into like this beautiful healing space. But yeah, I'm just so honored to be here tonight, and I want to, you know, let everybody who's like here today know that you all should support CNC to the fullest. And if you can donate, please do so, because programs like this don't exist in so many places. And for our families, we just really, really appreciate that. So thank you all so much.
Thank you again to all our awardees tonight. You inspire us all. This brings us almost to a close. There is a little bit more entertainment coming. I just wanted to remind you all that if you haven't donated yet, every level helps. If you did already, tell a friend about us. Let them know what you learned here today and the work that we do and how you can support us. If you know a youth, tell them to apply for our programs. We want to continue to do our work, and we want to continue to work with the youth so that they can continue to inspire us and inspire others and steps towards conservation. A link is now being posted on the chat for those to make it easier for you to donate. To close us out tonight, our second band is El Rio. El Rio, founded by Melissa Uribe and Brian Diaz, is a collaborative musical project expressing resistance, love, and revolution through Latin American folk rhythms. Backed by an array of winds, percussion, acoustic, and electric instruments, the vocal melodies and spoken poetry form a spirited, visceral dance. Images of their urban experience, as well as the natural landscapes along the Los Angeles River of the highlands split by the Arroyo Seco and the red-tailed hawks that fly above, all converge, forming their unique sound. El Rio aims to provoke thought and change through music, forever in solidarity with communities fighting and resisting oppression worldwide. El Rio.
Saludos, everyone. We are El Rio, here with you all. Thank you so much for the invitation. We are in occupied Tongva territory, Los Angeles, specifically Northeast LA, Highland Park. We're going to be sharing a couple of songs with you all. Thank you so much for having us.
Son las llamas subiendo en su rabia, es el humo plegaria de libertad, es las voces gritando por dignidad. Sube,
en marcha, en solidaridad, honrando las vidas robadas. Antigua memoria de un pueblo en lucha que va por la noche en meditación. Llueven visiones de qué será. Dejar este pueblo respirar. Dejar este mundo respirar. Dejar este ser respirar. Respirar. En cual vivo yo, una falsa realidad, una triste canción, espejo del interior, paisaje sin descifrar, recuerdos que siento yo sin intuir sueño o realidad. Quisiera salir yo de aquí, de la costumbre y apatía de vivir, ver la verdad que rodea sobre mí, esa verdad que encuentro yo en ti. En ti. Y grito por conocer, lucho por saber lo que será saborear ese mundo de la verdad, alejarme más y más de la falsa libertad, que las palabras y el viento se las llevará. Ningún gobierno será más grande que ella, la Santa Madre Tierra, bailará y grito por conocer, lucho por saber lo que será saborear ese mundo de la verdad. Gotita de lluvia se hace el mar. Gotita de lluvia se hace el mar. Granito de arena, montañas y mar. Si fueras tú, si fuera yo, el gran maíz, el girasol. Gotita de lluvia se hace el mar, granito de arena, montañas y mar. Si fueras tú, si fuera yo, el gran maíz, el girasol. gotita de lluvia se hace el mar, granito de arena, montañas van. Si fueras tú, si fuera yo, el gran maíz, el girasol, ay, la, ay, la, la, ay, la, ay, la, Yes, so we just want to share with you all that this is going to be our last song. It's called Mukuntuea. We were in Paiute territory at a national park, which we feel, you know, that's deeply connected to the message of equity in bloom and getting more people of color, more folks who are disenfranchised to reconnect with Mother Earth. So this is our final song. Thank you so much for having us. Mukuntuea. Santa piedra roja, alcanzando el cielo azul, piedra majestuosa, aves nacen en tu luz, río llena profundo, interior, aguas navegan mi cuerpo, evaporándose al sur. Seré de otra piedra roja, la montaña de la paz, cascadas sobre mi pecho, descifrando mi final. Una suelta suspiró, viento llega a gritar del alma de la tierra, sueño entre tu cantar, corriendo, corriendo vas, corriendo, corriendo vas, corriendo, corriendo vas, corriendo, corriendo vas. Thank you, everybody. We are El Rio.
Woo!
Gracias.
Thank you, El Rio. Thank you so much. Now to close us out for the night, special treat, I'd like to introduce Salvador Ornelas, who is both a program alumni and a
Hey,
member.
you still gotta wear the glasses though, sir. You know that.
Certainly. a creation that sprouted with the help of the pandemic, taking elements from cumbia, punk, and hip hop. Los Surly reflects a sound as diverse as the city they grew up in. From the hills of Northeast Los Angeles to the streets of Mid-City, Los Surlys aims to move a toda la gente. Salvador?
Muchas gracias, Miguel. And like Miguel was saying, we are Los Surlys. I want to introduce the band real quick. On Guido, we have Kevin. Hello. And on Campana, we have Carlitos over here. And also, like Miguel was saying, not only am I part of this band, but also was fortunate enough to go through one of Community Nature's programs called Bridge to Parks Career, where it took people of color youth from the inner cities who didn't have any exposure to the outdoors, and we received training, certificates, experience working in the outdoors, and how to lead trips. And we got paid for it too. So that's a really unique program that you don't see often. That's why it's very important for programs like this and organizations like Community Nature to continue doing what they're doing. Because for me, I'm 29 now. I didn't camp. I camped for the first time when I was maybe 25 years old. That's also the first time I went up to these local mountains here, the San Gabriel Mountains, even though I lived 15 miles away from it. And I really want to thank CNC again for having us here tonight. And we're going to close off with a song called Voy y Vengo. Right? I hope you enjoy it. Okay. Gracias. Thank you, Eric. Gracias, CNC. I hope you enjoyed it.
Woo! Thank you, guys. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night. All right.